Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Kayla Miller. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Universal. Before I hand it over to Salima, I'm going to tell you a few things that we have going on in our showroom this market. So we have 2 new collections, Birch Haven, which is located on floor 2. We also have a new collection in Modern on floor 3. We have a ton of new upholstery sprinkled throughout the showroom, most of it being here on floor 1 in our living room section. So definitely check that out while you're here. If you also have time, stop by our Designers Lounge. We are giving away a little luxury gift bag in there. And we have 11 Learning Center events this market, so definitely come back if you can fit that into your schedule. But now I'm going to hand it over. Everybody give Salim a round of applause.
Thank you. Can you all hear me okay? See, where does this y'all come from? I have no idea. I am from Toronto, Canada. If anybody here from Canada, we don't say y'all, but as soon as I land here, it's like y'all, y'all, y'all. So thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited to share this presentation with you. I have taken it out on a test drive a couple of times, so it's been tested. It's not like my first day doing this. And I don't want to spend too much time telling you about who I am and stuff. You can Google me and find out. But I do want to tell you, we're going to be talking a lot about AI, and I'm talking about it from beginner to advanced level, so don't you all leave yet if you're nervous. I have these cards with the QR code. If you scan it, you can probably scan it on the screen or the cards that are over there. That will give you access to my free community, and it'll give you 3 really, really awesome resources that you can apply to your business like today. And the stuff that I'm going to be teaching you today and talking about, chances are you'll be like so excited that you're going to start wanting to work on it on your flight home and have your content mapped out from like all of this market finds and stuff. So pay attention. We're going to have lots of fun. Who's ready? Y'all are ready. This is so fun. Okay. How many of you get a little bit nervous when it comes to AI and not sure what's going on, what's happening? A few. And I'm sure there's many more who are afraid to raise their hand. So I will be one of the first ones to raise my hand. I do not consider myself an expert in AI at all. And in fact, with the way things are going right now, no one is really an expert because things are moving so fast. Like just 2 days ago, ChatGPT dropped a huge bomb, right, with like their own Atlas search mode. So now they're going neck to neck with Google. So you can do all your search and stuff. Let's back up the bus a little bit, right? We've all been here before, believe it or not. I'm going to date myself and say, I remember when the internet first came out and the email, right? How many of you were there and going, what is this? And am I going to stop getting my fax machine now? Like, right? We were there. We've all been there. Some of us have been there. And I remember when I was in my MBA school, we were given like labs with these giant computers to play around on and to like search the internet and educate ourselves with this new wave. And what do I do with my precious computer time? I searched up a recipe for like mushroom risotto. That was my first search on the internet. We've come a long way. Then came the smartphones and everybody's like, I don't know, I don't like being this thing tied to my hip. My boss is always on top of me. But now we can't live without it, right? Like I can't even start my car without my phone. Then came social media, and I heard all kinds of excuses from people saying, well, my clients aren't on social media, so I'm not going on social media. So we've been there. But now we go on social media. And so it's the 2020s, people, and AI is here. Chances are, and I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands again, but you might be in one of these 4 steps, right? You might be just thinking about it, you've heard about it, don't really know what to do about it, kind of thing. And so you dabble here and there, maybe tried a little free prompt that you got. maybe you got a little bit of traction, but then you couldn't keep up. And then you persevered and you kept going, and you've got the mastery stage. Because, and this was supposed to be an animation, but because of tech, it's not working. These were like a line of robots going in a marching order. Because that's what we're all told, that that's what AI is here to do, right? It's going to take over the world. It's going to decimate human population. And, you know, with a click, you'll have AI taking care of everything. But in reality, and I wish you could see this one was hilarious. What ends up happening is you give it one job and it does a bad job. And you just give up, right? You completely give up. And I don't blame you, we've all been there. So there are going to be some people who are never going to start, right? They're going to bury their head in the sand and go, I'm just going to wait till this wave is over, right? Like the email and the internet, and they're still using their fax machines. But then there are people who are going to keep going to the mastery level. And that's where we should be aspiring for. I'm not promising you're going to get mastery level today during this like 45-minute presentation, but it is something that we need to start thinking about, because we have history that says technology comes and it takes over, right? And we need to keep up. What is the mindset? What is the frame of mind that we all need to adopt, or what I recommend that we adopt, in order for us to gain some traction in this world and start leveraging AI? First of all, stop thinking about AI to do your job faster. I clicked and I snapped my fingers and it didn't happen, and now I'm frustrated. But when you start using AI to think of the day-to-day tasks that we do in a different way, in a better way, in a more leveraged way, it helps free up some time. And you start to go, okay, I am understanding what's going on here. This is working for me. It's making sense, right? So the goal is to build a suite of actionable, repeatable systems that end up turning your biggest time wasters into automatic output. How many of you guys have things that you do every single day on autopilot that gives you no joy, nothing but frustration? It feels like Groundhog Day every single day. And then you're like, why am I doing this? Like, right? We all do. No matter which stage of business we're in, no matter which business we're in. And for those of you who don't know, I'm not even an interior designer. Just faking it. No, I'm not. I don't even pretend to design. You guys do amazing stuff. But in my world, I wake up and there's some things that I have to do just to show up every single day, just like you do. And so the goal can be to build actionable, repeatable systems that hopefully take some of the ick out of our day. Can we all sign up to that? Right? We are not looking for robots taking over and, was it Joan Jetson coming in and like all her things? So I'm going to talk about 3 levels that will help you leverage AI better. So we're going to start from the bottom, and then we're going to work our way up. And I'm going to give you some frameworks, because that was the whole idea for this presentation. Like I said earlier, for some of you guys who aren't here yet, things are moving so fast, right? It's hard to keep up. So what really helps us when things are moving fast is frameworks. Not really a hack or a little trick to get you excited, because it might change tomorrow. But if I give you frameworks, then you can start placing them in different situations and go, yeah, I remember learning that. It was a good use of my time that day in band camp. So the first level, starting point, for those of you who are reluctant to raise your hand, I know who you are. This is where we're all going to start. This is where I started 2.5 years ago. We're going to train AI to think like your assistant. like someone you hired as an intern or an assistant, right? I'm going to walk you through the steps and the framework for that. Then we're going to go into the growth stage, where you're going to say, okay, I've got a good assistant here now. How can I start creating those repeatable tasks? And then I'm going to talk about mastery level, which I'm just going to whoosh through very quickly, and we'll all land in a really happy place. So level 1, prompt mastery. How many of you guys have tried different prompts from like coaches and stuff, right? Good results, success? Mixed reviews? Okay. So this is really, like, what is a prompt? Does anybody want me to explain what a prompt is? A prompt is an ask that you go into ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or whatever it is that you're using, and the task you want it to perform. That's a prompt, right? We're not going to become engineers here, but we're going to get better at crafting better prompts so that the next time I'm here speaking, most of you aren't saying, meh. You're actually getting like, yes, Lima, that really worked, that really helped. So, oh, I just realized something. Never mind, we'll see how we can overcome that. So the thing that I want you to remember about prompts, it's just, or even AI in general, think of it like an assistant that you've just hired. How would you onboard an assistant in your company? Most companies, when I was back in my corporate days, would have like a 90-day onboarding, first 100-day plan for their employees, right? Some of us have been through experiences where you're like, learn by fire, baptism by fire, right? And we all know how that goes. And most of the times we end up treating AI the same way. Help me write an email. Help me write my social media caption. And it comes up with things that make you go, meh, right? So, but if you had a 90-day plan and you give it really, really good prompts, so the better we train our AI, the better results we get. There was a phrase from, I think it's an engineering term, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, right? Same thing with AI, nothing different. But this is my AI actually giving me this reframe. Good input, great output. I guess I'll keep this AI, right? Because he writes good copy. And you're going to train it. You're going to give it all the necessary documents or examples to help them do a better job. Because at the end of the day, if they do a better job, you do a better job, right? This is all for your benefit. So these are two principles we should all adapt. The framework, yeah, she's smart. She's taking a picture of that slide. That I recommend using for better prompting, it's CRIT or CRITE. Sometimes you need an E. So C stands for context, where you're giving your AI, when you're asking it to do something, you're giving it some context. I am a mentor for interior designers, and I am a business coach. I'm not a designer. I always have to say this, otherwise it messes it up. You'll say, I am an interior designer who specializes in kitchen and bath renovations, right? Your role is to act like my marketing assistant. The more specific you can get, the better. Not just marketing assistant. You can say, your role is to be the copywriter to help me write this blog. Your role is to help to become a legal or financial strategist. This is the information that you're going to give them. So whatever task you need them to do. Say, help me write a 7-day social media content calendar. This is all the stuff that I want you to talk about. Here's like all the pictures I took from my High Point market. Here's all the conversations I had, transcripts, so on. So that's the information it needs to do a good job. Then the task, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to write a blog? Do you want them to write an email? Do you want them to write a full sequence of follow-up emails? Do you want them to write a 7-day content plan? Be as specific as possible. And then E is like sometimes you may want to give it some examples. Here's some posts from my past that have worked really well. Here it gives you some tone and voice. Or I always create a dossier or like a bio, because I also have an agency business where we do social media marketing content for interior designers. So all the designers that I'm writing content for, my team is, we have like a dossier. And so I'm like, let's create a 30-day content calendar about fall home decor or kitchen renovation for this designer. Here's the information, their brand voice, their awards, their signature service. All that information, you do it once, and it keeps the information fresh. I was going to give you this example. I'm so glad it worked. Thank you, team. Okay, so this is a real-life example that I got from the interior design community. This was like a real designer who was having a challenge, and she posted about one of her issues that she was experiencing. And so I just copied it. I don't know who the designer is, but it's irrelevant. It's public information because it was online. And then I said, help me prepare an email to send to the client on how to deal with this. Can you all read this? Do you want me to? You got this, right? So let me give you what it gave me. I want to take a moment to clarify the scope of our agreement regarding the custom millwork. While millwork is not an off-the-shelf purchase like lighting, plumbing, or furniture, it's a major component of the design process and one that required significant expertise, coordination, and negotiation on your behalf. The value we brought to the project was very tangible, blah, blah, blah. And then it ends with, we truly value working with you and are committed to delivering a seamless, high-quality result. Please let me know if you would like to discuss this further. I'd be happy to walk through the details with you. How would you rate this GPT response? I gave it a meh. Yeah. I mean, what am I supposed to do with this? We're just like kumbayaing with our clients, right? We don't want that. We want some action. We want some results. We want them to pay our fees. Like, that's what it's like. So I said, so it's funny. I remember reading this book or listening to this book on my way to my cottage. So I was not paying attention to the details at all, but I remember it was a really, really good book. And it was something about Never Split the Difference by Christopher Voss, who was like this military hostage negotiation trained guy who talks about negotiations. So now I said, okay, well, crite example here. You're well versed and trained in negotiation principles shared by Christopher Voss. Never Split the Difference. So I mentioned the name of the book, right? Now, you don't have to read every single book out there, but ChatGPT does, right? You just have to go Google and go, who is the authority that I can use? You could say, help me write an email like Oprah would, right? Or you could say, help me write this email in the voice of Barbara Corcoran or Mr. Wonderful, and it will do that. But I wanted to have some more teeth in the response. So I'm like, let's try this again. You're an expert in this book. You know how he deals with situations. Provide me an email with 2 viable and compelling options that would receive his stamp of approval. Make sure the arguments have teeth, I misspelt it, and are so compelling that the client pays the full balance owing. No kumbaya here, people. No, like, let's go for a walk under the moonlight and discuss this. We're talking, I need my money back, right? So I need to get paid. Well, so this is the second reply. I hear your concern that millwork feels different from lighting, plumbing, and furnishings, because the client said, well, I shouldn't be paying you like I pay for everything else. it sounds like you're seeing this as more of a construction cost than a purchase. That makes sense from your perspective, and it's important for me to me that you feel confident and clear about where your investment is going. Here's the reality. If I had not stepped in, the contractor's cost for the same millwork would have been $220,000. Because of our design vendor relationship and negotiation, you paid $168,000. Even with our commission of $34,000, you're still ahead by $17,000. On top of that, my team has invested X number of hours, X number of coordination hours, X number of site visits, right? To keep this simple, I'd like to offer you 2 paths forward. Pay the commission as outlined, which reflects the value of both the savings, or 2, if you prefer, we can bill for the actual hours and resources required to design, detail, and coordinate the millwork. And that would come to this amount, which is higher than the commission. Both paths arrive at the same place, the work is properly compensated, and you retain the $17,000 savings we secured for you. Now rate my GPT, people. A round of applause for this GPT, right? Even a Canadian can get tough sometimes. I don't know where we are in this presentation, but how was that for prompt engineering, right? Now you all feel confident about your prompts? Better? Okay. Let's lock in our custom processes. Let's go into the next level towards mastery, which is going to be, does anybody remember? Custom GPTs, right? So how does that work, these custom GPTs? Oh, before I forget, if you came in late, you can still grab some cards here. I had a QR code. I have given you a guide with 111 prompt ideas. And now that you know how to use books and other people's gravitas, you can make your prompts that much stronger. So it has everything you need, different ideas for prompts to get you more leads, to get you more business. And then you can put the right principles in there, and then there you go. So custom GPTs. Now, prompts are good because they help you, from me sitting there, sweaty palms, wondering what to say, not able to sleep, staring at the ceiling, going, how could my client say this to me, and come up with a beautifully well-written email. That's great as a one-off. But our problem is we have all these icky tasks that we wake up with every day that don't inspire us, and we would rather that we didn't have to deal with them. So those repetitive tasks, whether we like them or not, but chances are we don't, those repetitive tasks can be turned into a custom GPT. And a custom GPT is basically the same prompt that I gave you, but customized, or no, it's created in a way that all you have to do is click a button and it already has that instruction. So you don't have to wake up every single day and say, I am an interior designer who specializes in kitchens and baths in North Carolina, and help me write the 30 days of content. It already has that information. You can also train it to say, I don't want you to just keep talking about kitchens and baths and my client portfolio. I want you to talk about some tips and trends, and I want you to share some testimonies, and I want you to do some Q&As, that kind of content, right? So now a custom GPT has all of those instructions. And so then on, in the morning or at the beginning of the month, you can just go, okay, let's create the content for this month with a couple of clicks of the buttons. Guess what? You all have that free access. So in the QR code, I'm giving you my custom GPT that will help you create 30 days of content as well. I feel like Oprah. You get a GPT, you get a GPT. So let's now talk about GPTs. I'm going to give you a completely different example to help you understand how these custom GPTs work. Because at the end of the day, this AI stuff It's not about being a techie. It's not about, who's got more custom GPTs under their belt. It really is about freedom. And if I may say so, it's also about fun. I'll give you an example. So, how are we doing for time? We're okay for time. I'll give you this example, and it'll be so fun, because my husband's not here and he's not listening. So, over the summer, we were going up to our lake house, and it's a 2-hour drive, and I'm driving or my husband's driving, and I'm with him. And my daughter is coming in another car with her BF. And she texts along the way, "Hey, how far are you guys?" And I said, we're like half an hour away. She's like, "Half an hour? We're like an hour away. How did we get like half hour behind you?" I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe you're a slow driver or like," but then I'm like ad-libbing now. And I said, "We've just been like stopping at all these like fruit stands and these like horse farm. We even stopped to pet some Shetland ponies. And Papa rode a Shetland pony." Like, I'm just making this stuff up now. I have nothing else to do, 2-hour drive. So she's like the perfect Gen Z. "Well, I need to see a picture, otherwise it didn't happen." Well, did she just say that? Let me just roll up my sleeves, put my hair in a ponytail. This mama is AI trained. What do? Honestly, my husband had no clue. We were like listening to some audio book or something. And I pull up one of his pictures. I go into ChatGPT. And he was in our boat. He was wearing a white polo. And I said to ChatGPT, "Hey, Chat, can you turn this man riding a Shetland pony," hilarious if you've seen my husband, and the size of a Shetland pony, wearing a blue polo, because that was the shirt he was wearing that day, in a Muskoka background, which is like our lake area. So like different trees and different sky, right? Nailed it. Nailed it. Unless like if you zoom in on his face, it looked a little different. But I'm just saying, it was so hilarious. I sent it, and I've got like street cred for days with all the Gen Zs. Like a 53-year-old mama playing on ChatGPT, right? So that's what this is about, right? When you get to learn these little things, I've also, like my son is now in second year engineering, and last year we like forced him to get this job with our friends, and they gave him AI tasks because he's engineering. He must know all about AI. Well, so I would ask him, like, "How was your day, son? Like, what did you do?" and all that. Or sometimes, like, we're driving. And he's like, "Yeah, well, I was working on Monday.com, and then I was making this form on JotForm, and then I got stuck here." I'm like, "Well, did you try JSON?" And he's like, "You know about JSON?" Like, that's the code. And again, like just little things. I'm not an expert. I didn't go to school for like engineering or any of this stuff. But you can get street cred for this kind of work, right? Who doesn't want to have that? I think mamas over 50 can totally relate. Like, we're looking for ways to connect with our kids. Okay. So we can create custom GPTs that will clone your brand voice, right? Aside from the Shetland ponies and the odd codes and stuff like that, you can have codes built into your ChatGPT or Google AI or Perplexity and all of that, and train them in your voice. This is me, this is my type of projects, these are words I love to use, these are words I don't use, like elevate and those kind of ChatGPT gibberish words. You can tell it not to use those words. So then it starts to sound like you. It's incredible. I mentioned earlier, we also do agency services for several designers. And I'm not sure if she's here. But one of my designers that we managed her social media for was, her father passed away recently. And we're just pumping out content. Of course, certain days we went blacked out. But we were pumping out content for her. And she sends me an update from the service. And she goes, the first thing people told me, how much they loved my social media. And I'm like, they're here for the service? And she's just like, I just so appreciate. And I've never been to South Carolina. She lives in South Carolina. And the way I've trained her GPT, no one can tell that it's not even her working on this stuff. That's the beauty when you get to do this, aside from the Shetland pony stuff. And then the second thing is you can create those repetitive stuff simplified and more streamlined. And so then you don't have to keep typing that prompt of help me write this email, help me write this social media content, because you've created a custom assistant for you, right? So the goal here is to scale beyond yourself, right? You're not just sitting there doing and grinding it out. So I told you I'm giving you a custom GPT to help you create content. It's very simple, but extremely powerful now that I've given you this example of Susan's account. But I'm going to show you another example. Hopefully it will work. So there are numbers of ways that you can create, or number of reasons or things, tasks that you can create custom GPTs for. We hear a lot about content for blogging, for all of that. The other one that is really sweet is to create a custom GPT that helps you go find potential referral partners, like your builders, your architects, your realtors, general contractors, etc. So this is actually a stack of GPTs that I've built. So this is why it looks a little bit different. And I pre-programmed it with some of the information. It'll ask me, tell me about your name, because it's going to help me write emails to reach out to these architects, customized. Remember I said I have a dossier or a background on my clients, so I always upload that. And then it says, describe who you're looking for. Home builders, architects, general, within a 30-mile radius of this zip code or postal code. And then which design service do you want to be promoting? Like if it's full service design, if it's kitchen and bath or basement renovations, you give it that information and you hit continue, and voila. So I did this before because tech happens. And it gave me a list, and I can ask it for more. I have programmed it to say, okay, here we go. So it'll give me a list of their website, the owner's name, their email. How hard is it to find people's emails these days? Their phone number, any awards and accolades. Isn't it nice to work with people who know what they're doing? And then these are links directly into their social media feed. Yeah. So all you have to do in this case, I just copy and paste it into a Google Sheet. But here comes the charming part. I've also programmed it to give me emails to introduce my services as a designer to these people. First email. My name is, this was for one of my clients, Mimi Fong, founder, da-da-da-da. I'm reaching out to you today because I've been following your work for some time. Then it says something like, here's my interior design roadmap or an investment guide or a lead magnet that I have that you may want to share with your clients who are looking for design services. A gentle nudge, and then a final follow-up. I'm not going to bother you anymore, kind of thing. Then it also writes, like this is just like the gift that keeps on giving kind of thing, 10 DM messages that you may want to send to them. Hey, I just sent you an email following up. And then the follow-up messages from those DMs. Who would love to have this? Right? This would make our lives so much easier, And let's get this thing back on. The beauty of presenting on the first/second day of High Point Market is I'm making it easier for the future presenters. They won't have all this tech nightmare. So come back. Come back to Universal and tell them how amazing their new presentation center is. I love this room, by the way. It's so nice. Okay, so we just went through this example, right? But here's what I was telling you about. There are these are just 9. I have about 20 some odd custom GPTs or stacked custom GPTs. Like what I just showed you in the partner example, the first custom GPT was going out there and finding the partners with my specific criteria. The second stack, that I stacked on top of it, was the email write-up, right? Very different skill set. You would need one intern to go out there and find those people, and you'll need another intern to help you write that copy, right? And then third stack was the DM, because the languaging is different than writing emails for partnership requests, right? So these are just some of the examples that we have already created. And honestly, this is just like scratching the surface. This is just the beginning, because we have so many more that are coming up. And now with changes from this week, I'll be back at my drawing board and coming up with new agents. So like I said, you all can also download this. 30 days of social media content calendar. If things were working good, I would have shown you how quickly we turned that content calendar around. Don't tell that to my clients, because we do a full month of work. But with GPTs now, it's so much easier. And that's how we were able to manage so many different clients from different markets and different services, right? Now we're getting into the techie part. So how are we doing so far? Are you following this? Is this making sense? Do you have a question?
Yeah. The custom GPTs, how are those built? Would I go purchase them? Would I build them myself? What platform is that?
It's on ChatGPT. I'll show you right after this presentation. It'll take seconds. I actually have a GPT that helps you build the GPTs too. Talk about meta, right? It's totally crazy. It's hard to keep up. But yeah, I'll show you afterwards. I'm not trying to gatekeep. It's just I can't get access here. So I'll be doing stuff and no one can see it. But yeah, you just go into ChatGPT and I'll show you where you put in your instructions and it's done. All right, agents. So there was a great quote that I came across. Your brain is not for collecting information. Your brain is for collecting memories, right? Try and offload all those things that are like Post-it notes in our brain, right? Like they're everywhere if we were to dissect it. And with agents, you can now start to think about, okay, what does an agent do? Sorry, I think I skipped over that part. An agent is basically something that goes into your computer and does the work on your behalf. And there are different levels. Some are very, very basic agents, but they help you do the stuff that you might forget to do or you don't want to do. And then there are some where you give them access to your desktop and you watch them do the work. And then anytime you feel that it's kind of strange, you can turn it off. So let's say if I wanted to go into your Instagram and get all the information so that I could create next 30 days of content, I can ask ChatGPT agent to log into my Instagram so that I can scroll your Instagram, and it will scrape all that information. And it'll present it to me in a Google Sheet. And then we'll go, okay, what are the themes that she's always talking about? Okay, let's put together some frameworks, and let's put together her next 30 days of content. Done. So these are some of the agents that you can actually hire, design, create, whatever you want to call this. It's really, really exciting what you can do. So a very simple example of an agent where I literally do not have to lift a finger now is I send out a weekly newsletter. I didn't send it one last week. I send out a weekly newsletter talking about what's new in the world of AI and how it affects designers. So it's very specific. It's not about all the techie stuff, and it's not about AI for the sake of AI. It's literally like, this just happened in ChatGPT. This is what you need to know about it as a designer. This just came out, and this is how you use it as a designer thing. I have programmed ChatGPT to do the research on certain parameters that I am looking for. Obviously, my research is going to be very different than a newsletter that you send out to your clients, right? So it knows exactly what I'm looking for. And unfortunately, I can't show you exactly how it worked because of the system. But I get a message here on Fridays at 9 o'clock. I've told it, like, just send me an email, tell me that your job is done, and I'll go see if it's done all right. And so I just click on that green button, view message. It takes me to ChatGPT. It finds all the resources. It even gives me like the greetings part, like it'll summarize it. And I will review it to see yes, no, put it into my email provider, and off it goes. Before I learned how to do that, it would take me, I'm not kidding you, sometimes 3/4 of a day researching articles, saying, yes, I like it, no, I don't like it. You know, the other thing I found using all this ChatGPT is that it's made me less emotional about my work, less critical about my work too. Because when I'm doing it, I get very like critical. Oh no, this is not good enough, that's not good enough. How does this sound? That with ChatGPT, it's already learned what I like and what I don't like and what my audience likes, and it's done. So I'll give you this one, talks about Kelly Wearstler and how she uses AI. Like, people, I'm not a designer. I would have never been able to find that article on my own, right? I wouldn't even know where to look. But ChatGPT found it, and it was one of the most opened newsletters because all of y'all are interested in Kelly and what she does, right? That is the ultimate goal, I think. Let's go back. I think I was telling you about the 2 tiers. Is finding that balance between the human and the agent, the human and the automation, the human and the machine. And so all of these things can be done, and it'll be done much, much better when you can consolidate, when you can figure out these 2 tiers. The first is AI delegated tasks, right? You want to have some guardrails. You want to have some boundaries between what you will and will not allow automation to do right now. And it's perfectly fine. You don't have to go from like shallow end all the way to the deep end on day 1. You can say, you know, I'm going to give you a little bit to do, and then we'll see, and I'll analyze. And what happens when you give it some smaller tasks, you can still free up more time for creativity, but you can also continue to build like you used to, working way less. So that's the benefit of all of this. You get the speed, you get the efficiency, you can get like, give me 15 options, just like how your clients get so demanding sometimes, like, I want to see more. And you can do that. It's like, give me every single shade of blue under the sun for the sofa. And it will do that. That's its job. And it won't even like backbite. Sometimes I do have conversations with my ChatGPT, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I think we just need to call it a day. And then it'll come back with like, almost like, you're right, dear. I'm like, okay, don't let my husband see these answers. Okay, so you can charge the way you did, but you'll have a lot more freedom with like those little tasks that are taking up your entire day. The second is like, you need to have those boundaries and you need to say like, I'm not ready to give this up yet. I don't let my newsletter just go out on its own. I do review it. You know, it has to make sense to me so that it can make sense and it can be on brand and all of that too, right? Things that you will not be able to outsource right now, maybe in the future, I don't have a crystal ball, are things like your experience, your knowledge, your expertise, your empathy, right? Your ability to read that body language when you showed a certain blue to a client. ChatGPT is dumb when it comes to that kind of stuff. And we don't have a solution yet, maybe, but this is the stuff, right? Your clients aren't going to hand over a check to ChatGPT. They want the designer in between. But you can be smart about this, and you can create more leverage, more freedom, more flexibility, more peace of mind with the 3 tiers that I shared with you today. Does this make sense? That's it. Questions?
So I've trained my ChatGPT to know me and the brand and so forth. So I know you mentioned your custom. So if I move into that, will I have to then retrain? No, it's already, okay.
So the question is, when you go from like a trained GPT, and congrats, by the way, for doing that, that's huge. Like that's Shetland pony stuff. So when you move into a custom GPT, do you have to like start all over again? No, you're actually just building on that. That's the beauty of it. And then there's actually a place in custom GPTs where you upload examples and information. Like, this is how I talk, and it just knows it. That's how we're able to toggle between all the different designers. One is in Connecticut, completely different clientele than the one in South Carolina, right? You have to train it that way. Yeah?
Recommendation for filmmakers using sources if you don't have a lot of content? Like for those of us who might be newer, right? Like natural language processing requires stuff, if you don't have stuff to give it and you want to use sources, how do you recommend you find the right source to create our voice?
So is it to create your voice or is it to create content?
Create content with it.
Okay, so it's 2 different things actually. I'm not trying to like split hair here, but the question is like, if you're just starting out, what sources can you lean on to create your custom voice, to create your branded voice? If you don't have a brand guideline, like what are you going to feed this thing, right? I get it. And then the second is like, where do you get, what kind of sources can you utilize when you're writing content, when you're creating social media, if you don't have a lot of client experience? So the first one is, there are GPTs for this too. You can actually just talk to GPT and go, you know what, I'm just starting out and I want to create a brand voice, and it'll ask you some questions. Or you'll go ask me questions to help me define my brand voice. And it'll give you, you know, do you like to work on luxury or mid-level, or are you like modern farmhouse, or like, you know, it'll ask you about your design style and all of that stuff, but it'll also ask you about your brand voice and your preference in fonts and colors and stuff. You can also say people that you admire, right? There's a big difference between Kelly Wearstler, am I pronouncing her last name right? Kelly versus Shay McGee versus Joanna Gaines. We all get that, right? They have their own brand essence, their own brand voice. So you can say this to ChatGPT. In the beginning, actually, I told you guys my first internet search, the mushroom risotto. My first ever task to ChatGPT was to help me write a blog about kitchen design using the voice of Nate Berkus. Right? Because I'm not an interior designer, and because this is all brand new, so I didn't have a voice to begin with, plus I don't have the vocation to begin with, right? So I just said, here is somebody that I admire, I like the way he speaks, And it nailed it. Then I, like, just for fun and giggles, I said, now change it in Martha's tone. So it did, and it kept saying, it's a good thing. And I'm like, wow, like this stuff knows this stuff, right? So it'll help you define it. You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're doing your prompt and you're asking all these questions and you have all this information that you like and you want to save, is there a way to like keep it all in a file or places where you can reuse it again and again like your prompts?
You actually reminded me of something I was supposed to share with you. What happened here? So, very good question. Like once you've nailed it or once you've got some good answers, how do you kind of keep going back to it? So in ChatGPT, first of all, you have the left-hand column, which keeps all of your chat until you delete it. And please be judicious about deleting it because you can't get it back. So there's no like 3-second rule, you'll get it back. So it'll keep everything, and there's a search bar at the top. And I was looking for that email about Christopher Voss negotiation style. I just typed in Voss today, and it came up. So it'll remember it. That's the first thing. The second is, if you don't want to do custom GPTs and you're just doing prompts, you can always take the URL at the top and like start an Excel sheet, and then just like keep the links. And then keep your own tags, like this was, client information and so on. Third thing, how about, like if you're really, really happy with this, then you ask ChatGPT, pay attention people, help me write a prompt to do this task the next time. So you don't have to go with all this, like all the pain of like, no like this, no like that. It will give you that. So 3 levels. Yep.
Are you using like the free version or are you using a paid version or?
Paid version. Yeah. Yeah. This is like a huge difference between like, you probably don't remember this, but I'm 53, dial-up versus speed internet. Remember that? And just the features. There's like multiple versions. I just go, like I recommend $20 version for everybody. And ChatGPT is also getting very like user-friendly. So they're taking all their old heritage versions like 3.0, 4.5, 4.0, and they're putting it all together nicely. I recommend it. Like maybe 3 less pumpkin spice lattes and you're good. Right? Yeah.
So I do have the Plus version and the Pro version. I don't know if there's any huge difference between Pro and Plus because there's a huge price difference.
Honestly, I'm just on the $20 version, and I'm doing all this. I figure with that, it's easier on the pocket. It gets me to do what I need to do. I'm not like creating, I have other resources to create my own customized AI bots and stuff. I don't go to ChatGPT for that. But with the money savings, then you can try other tools like Perplexity and the Pro version of Google AI Pro and stuff like that. You can like spend that across multiple things. Claude. Like I sometimes like Claude more than ChatGPT. And I tell them that too, by the way. I'm like, you know what? This is what I got from Claude. You need to up your game. And it does.
So that goes along the lines with my question that I had, is using different AI sites. For example, I'll use ChatGPT for emails, and then I send it into Claude and have it like clean it up. And then how do you recommend like kind of working between those different AI people?
The different AI people, it's just like having different people in your office, right? there's going to be like, you're going to have somebody who is going to be amazing at sending like personal DMs, and that's like your social media queen. But then you're going to hire like a PR agency who's going to write a very professional press release for you. Different layers, right? And so I think it's wise. For those of you who are in like step 0 and step 1, I don't recommend that you go out there and start downloading all these apps tonight because we were having this conversation. Yeah, don't, like once you're very comfortable with ChatGPT, then, you know, you go, okay, what else is out there? And then, you know what, who knows? Things might even change by then and you'll stick with ChatGPT. Or you might take another course or something or go to another seminar and like, oh, I learned another tweak that Salima didn't cover. And it'll improve your, that's Susan that I was talking about. So you're famous. So yeah, I would recommend you start with one and then build up. Don't get overwhelmed. Ain't nobody got time for that. Any other questions? Yeah, you get the microphone. Do you want to come up and ask?
No, not at all. So you have to make me feel better about, like, everyone is using ChatGPT, and I've used it, and I understand there's still the human part of I'm going to proof this before it's posted or that, but I feel like there's a tiny lack of trust or credibility with starting to think this isn't even that person. Like, clearly the computer did all of that. So how do you let it save you tons of time and still feel sincere? You got it. I knew you'd have a good answer.
I don't know if I have a good answer. But look, at the end of the day, and I don't want to like philosophize this or anything, I totally get it, right? We don't want to all turn into that line of robots marching and everyone sounding the same. But okay, do you know all the phone numbers that are in your iPhone, right? I know the phone number of my GP, right? I have it memorized, but I don't know the phone number of my son, right? So we kind of have to make a trade-off of how much do I want to think. I would rather spend that time thinking about going to Paris, right? Or like, what do I want to serve on Thanksgiving? And like, have fun with my thinking time and not make it so hard for myself that I feel like I'm a failure because I got ChatGPT to do this. I don't feel like a failure every time I say, hey Siri, call Rayhan, my son. She's probably gonna start dialing now. But do you know what I mean? So we have to make our choices that way. But there is, I think, another question in there, which is, what happens when everybody starts to sound the same? And that's a valid question, because I also have certain things that I can't stand when people say something. There are certain phrases. You don't have to work harder, you have to work smarter. To me, it's such a cliche, and I've actually used it as a title of a thing because it made sense. But when I see it, I'm like, ChatGPT wrote it, ChatGPT wrote it, right? But there's a time and place for all of this stuff too. I also know that when I let too much of my ego or my judgment and my criticism take over, I don't publish content for weeks because I'm sitting there overthinking. But then I showed you that green button I press, and my entire newsletter, like my newsletter is done, not just one caption. So I think we all have to make those decisions. It's not a good or bad thing. Yeah. That's fine. I'm good for basic.
what drives me crazy is when you do all the work on GPT, and then you copy it, and then you paste it over onto your email, it changes the font all the time. Has anybody experienced that? Like it changed, so you have to go find the right font, so it all looks like you did it. Did you do it from ChatGPT?
Oh, can you do it like, yeah, that one.
Oh, I don't believe so.
Molly Darkness,
You have to paste it as plain text. So, and then you'll have the selections. Because if you just hit paste, it goes like bold and then on. But if you paste as plain text, it'll go select the text. Oh, right when you do it, right there, please, and then that's right out.
What about when you're doing it from onto your
Yeah, that's not, yeah, so much yeah. Yeah. You know what drives me nuts? When my cleaning lady comes and then when she's wiping the frames, they all kind of are like at a, we gotta pick our poison, right? Then I go around the house and I like level them all. Every single Wednesday she does that. Oy vey. Anybody else? Questions? You guys are all ready for your AI revolution? Yes? Come and join me inside the free group. In the QR code, you have to join the group. It's free. And you'll get all the 3 resources. But please say hello and tell me that you met me here. You're most welcome. You're most welcome.